What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. I want to kick off this week and today's show with a Bulls-Bucks recap. The Bulls fell to the Milwaukee Bucks last night, 127-121. It was a very solid contest for a lot of reasons for this Bulls team as we inch closer to the start of the regular season. I want to go over just who were the starters for this Bulls team last night and what things kind of looked like and what to expect from the analysis we can take away from this contest moving into Tuesday night's contest at Denver. I'll get into that preview a little bit later as well, but the starters for the Bulls last night: Billy Donovan rolled out Josh Giddey, Tre Jones, Isaac Okoro, Modest Vuzelis, and Nikola Vucevic. Vuce wasn't initially expected to start. It was going to be Zach Collins, but Vuce did get flipped into the starting lineup late. He did struggle. It wasn't one of his better nights. Modest led all starters with 19 points in 25 minutes of action. He shot 6 of 11 from the field, 2 of 6 from long range. He had 4 rebounds. Josh Giddey also scored 14 points in 24 minutes of action, shooting 4 of 7 and 1 of 3 from long range. Zach Collins, who again was initially expected to start last night, did finish with 8 points in 15 minutes off the bench there. He was 4 of 4 from the field. I think when you look at the positives, Zach Collins continues to be a guy you can rely on for a scoring punch, whether it's off the bench or in different starting lineup combinations. I think Billy Donovan's going to have a lot of fun kind of incorporating him into what his plans are for this Bulls team moving closer to the regular season here. Vuce did not have a good night, although he did play 24 minutes. He shot 3 of 10 from the field, was 0 of 4 from beyond the arc there. He pulled down 9 rebounds. He ended up with 6 points and 3 assists there. So a lighter night and a more of a struggle for Nikola Vucevic. Hopefully he looks solid moving into Tuesday and then Thursday's final preseason contest ahead of the regular season opener against the Pistons there. When you look at the other side of the box score here, Miles Turner paced the way for Milwaukee with 19 points in 24 minutes of action. He pulled down 6 rebounds and had an assist there. He was 5 of 8 shooting and also 5 of 8 from beyond the arc there. So that was the most notable starter for Milwaukee there. Kyle Kuzma also added 19 points off the bench, so a solid performance for him. The Bulls had this thing down to a 3-point game with about a minute left, and then it just kind of got away from them there with a late and one that put the Bucks kind of allowed them to put the game away. So a tight contest all around. The Bulls, as a slight favorite, I believe, yesterday, don't come away with the victory. So we'll move on and shift our focus to Tuesday and kind of spend the rest of the show with some takeaways from some key guys from the start of the preseason here, and how can we not continue to shine the light on none other than Ayo Dosunmu, who continues his strong preseason start there. He continues to ball out as basketball has started here for the Bulls, looking stronger than ever coming off of that left shoulder surgery. Now, that's the most encouraging sign, is he had that surgery because of the continued discomfort in that left shoulder. It just wasn't right. It wasn't strong enough. He didn't have the durability and the strength in that shoulder, so decided to have that procedure towards the end of last year. Again, a solid performance last night. He played 25 minutes off the bench. He shot 8 of 12, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. I just think he was a very solid contributor once again in a very physical game. He did also come away with a cut above his eye that, according to Billy Donovan, so we'll have to monitor that. That's a minor injury there, but he should be fine. His ability, though, when you look at Ayo's play through the first couple of preseason games, he really has had a solid ability to get downhill. His decision-making has also been very strong while getting downhill for the Bulls, and that is going to be big for them to have a guy like Ayo to get downhill and score the basketball, whether it's off the bench or starting. I think Ayo can find himself in a lot of starting lineups as we move throughout the season. So we'll continue to watch how he progresses, but a very exciting, encouraging sign if you're a Bulls fan looking at what Ayo Dosunmu brings to the table here. I think that's a player who's going to continue to not only help his stock with the Chicago Bulls, but he's a guy who's going to continue to draw interest from contenders around the league as we move closer to February there, if he continues to play as strong as he has, and I expect him to, given how he's looked in the preseason here. So Speaking of the injury report here for the Bulls, there were a few key guys who did not crack the lineup or come off the bench for them last night. Julian Phillips was out with a knee strain. Kevin Huerter has also been dealing with a groin issue. He missed last night's game. Now, that's a key one because he was really competing for that final starting spot in the lineup there. So we'll see how Kevin Huerter's groin continues to heal there. I don't know if he's going to be something that's going to linger into this coming week or if he's going to get some action ahead of the regular season kicking off. And then Yuki Kawamura was added to the injury report late. He had lower leg soreness. Neither of the three injuries are really thought to be major issues, but we'll continue to monitor all three guys there. We'll have to see what the scope of the minutes for the roster is going to look like ahead of tomorrow night's game in Denver. I'll give you guys more of a preview of that as we move into tomorrow night's game there. So I wanted to kind of talk about, to finish up today's show, and there was multiple reports that have been coming out about this guy and what his future could be with Chicago. But Dalen Terry, if you guys remember a few weeks back or a few shows back, I really talked about how he came into camp and people around the Bulls organization were really impressed at the spot he's put himself in to improve this year. He came in much healthier, came in much stronger as well. There are now multiple reports stating and pegging the Bulls to not have had any discussions involving Terry in an extension here. So Dalen Terry could find himself testing free agency, likely entering free agency after this season. So really, I think it's an exciting moment for him, also kind of a nervous one for Terry in his camp because who knows what his future is going to hold. But the focus for Terry this season is really to make an impression that will either endear him to a team that drafted him in the Bulls enough that they make the decision to keep him aboard, or boost his value enough that he has a good chance of finding a home elsewhere if the Bulls decide to cut him loose. So he's got a lot of motivation. That could be a dangerous combination in terms of a guy balling out. So we'll see if that continues to be the case with Dalen Terry, if that motivates him and we see him break out like we have in any other year. As much as the question is Terry's scoring is, I think his defense is an opportunity really for him to shine. I think Billy Donovan's really leaning on the defensive side of his game, even if he isn't moving the needle as much offensively. So I think that could be where you see his impact on the Chicago Bulls, is on that side of the ball. I think Billy Donovan and that coaching staff have the same mindset. So we'll see how Dalen Terry and the scope of his future with the Bulls continues to evolve here as we move forward. So I think that is definitely a player to watch, and just in terms of what's next for him within this Bulls organization, it'll be key to kind of hone in on how he's used. Overall, though, like I said, the Bulls will be taking on the Denver Nuggets in Denver. That'll be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You could see that game on Chicago Sports Network. I will have a game preview of that one tomorrow morning for you guys. And then after Tuesday, you finish up the preseason slate. Thursday night, the Bulls will be at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Final preseason contest ahead of, finally, the regular season opener on October 22nd against the Detroit Pistons. So we are just about 9 days away from the regular season kicking off here. I cannot wait for Bulls basketball and regular season ball to really start kicking into gear. I think this Bulls team has the ability, like we've all kind of been, hoping for and talking about throughout this show, but to win some ball games early on ahead of, the trade deadline when things could really shake up for this team. So an exciting thing to look at the beginning of this regular season for the Bulls. There's going to be a lot of winning going on. I think a lot of optimism to be had with a lot of these young players. I mean, how could you not be optimistic after what we've seen out of Modest? He looks like a superstar in the making. And then we have some other players to compliment him as well. We'll also keep an eye on Kobe White. I know I talked to him or about him to you guys, a few episodes ago with that injury, that minor injury, but that's a guy we have to look at as well. I didn't necessarily have him on the injury report today, but that's a guy we'll look to see if he gets some minutes ahead of the regular season opener. So anyway, thank you for joining me again, guys, for another episode of Bulls Latest. Hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way for the channel. Your guys' support has been awesome, and we will see you guys tomorrow.